Okay guys, we are in pen mode full on, so I'm just getting familiar with my pens again, and I'm going to do some samples with my liner pens. And if you haven't already done so, test these out because we are getting into value with pen and ink. You probably already noticed that point 1 is very delicate, so be careful. We never want to use full-on harder pressure with these pens, right? They go on pretty easily. While I was drawing this exercise, I noticed that point 1, the ink would kind of stop up or get dry really easily on this paper. So just be aware of that. You may have to go over your lines several times to get that ink flowing again. Let's create 4 rectangles here with our 0.7 pen, and we're going to start to fill in some value shifts from black to white using our pen. And we're going to use all of the pens, all of these sizes of pens, using hatching exclusively. Let's see what happens when we do this. Notice as I go, I'm building this up gradually with each of these pens. It's never done in one go, so you have to be patient and build up those lines, especially that darker end, right? The 0.1 pen, because it's a smaller diameter, is going to take you longer than the rest, so be patient and keep going. Remember that it being a thicker diameter, 0.7, 0.5, you will get this done quicker, but it also means you have to be more wary of getting it dark too fast, so just be patient. Now for here, we're going to do some cross hatching techniques using the pen again, and this time I'm doing smaller rectangles to get this finished, just to save on time. These can be any size really, just so that you get more familiar with what is expected as a pen. And I'm just going to start these randomly and try them to get finished. Because ink is permanent, right? We can't erase this. I tend to follow these rules, or this main rule is go loose and light and make your marks further from each other, and then fill in all the gaps, right? It's a good rule to follow. It keeps us from going too far too quickly. Okay. So now that we are familiar with making value shifts over a gradient, a linear gradient, right? Let's try a radial gradient, right? We're going to go back to what we've learned with our volumetric shading, and we're going to try to replicate our volumetric shading technique and gradients using that sphere as an example, right? We should be all familiar with this. We watched a couple of videos previously, so let's try to replicate highlight, core shadow, reflected light, and cast shadow. I'm going to do several techniques here. And we're going to see what happens with cross-hatching, maybe some curved cross-hatching, maybe even some broken line. Let's see what happens, and I'm going to use several different types of pens to do this. And I maybe even throw in a little of pointillism, but I'm going to be smart about it and use the biggest pin width just so I can get done at a reasonable time. All right, guys, let's see what happens. Notice that with cross-hatching, it's okay to stop and start your lines. You don't have to go all the way through. Just be consistent. I think that's the main point. You don't want to have any kind of rogue lines going anywhere. So maintain your consistency. Even with this kind of broken, curved cross contour line here, I've even maintained the consistency in the cast shadow as well. Now here I'm doing pointillism, and I'm utilizing my 0.7 so I can get this done quicker. And it still took a lot of time, and if you ever do this, just be prepared that your wrist or forearm's gonna get tired, so take a rest. This last one was an interesting technique. It's kind of like that break pattern that we used in pencil, but the overlapping marks are more crisscross, and so it's like a smaller version of a cross-hatching technique, almost like there's little X patterns everywhere, and it's more random than anything, but I tried to stay organized with that too. Okay guys, let's do some of these together in class. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.